Excuse me, sir. Border Patrol. We need to ask you some questions. What are you doing here?
I'm conducting marine biological research. I'm a professor at UC San Diego. This is a monthly survey I've been doing for years.
We need to see identification and proof you're...
Why are you here? The question hangs in the salt air like an accusation. Dr. Marcus Thompson stands knee-deep in tide pools on a public beach in Southern California. Clipboard in hand, waterproof research equipment spread across the rocks, wearing waders and a UC San Diego Marine Biology Department shirt with his name embroidered on the pocket. He's been conducting the same coastal survey he's done every month for 8 years. Same beach, same research protocol, same permits issued by California Fish and Wildlife. The 2 Border Patrol agents standing above him on the sand don't care about any of that. They see a black man collecting something from the ocean and decide he needs to prove he has permission to be in America. What they don't know is that Dr. Thompson isn't just a marine biologist. He's a tenured professor. He's published 43 peer-reviewed papers. He's testified before Congress on ocean conservation. And the GoPro mounted on his research vest has been recording every interaction for documentation purposes since he started his fieldwork that morning. The body camera footage from Agent Michael Santos and the GoPro footage from Dr. Thompson's vest captured the same encounter from 2 different angles, creating a complete record of what happens when federal agents make assumptions based on appearance rather than evidence. If you believe that asking, "Why are you here?" to someone standing on American soil doing legal work should require actual suspicion rather than skin color, hit subscribe. Because what happened to Dr. Marcus Thompson on that beach will make you question how many other professionals are stopped and questioned simply for existing in spaces where people assume they don't belong. The footage tells the story. 2 cameras, 2 perspectives, 1 undeniable truth. Dr. Marcus Thompson was 41 years old, raised in Oakland, educated at Stanford for undergrad and Scripps Institution of Oceanography for his PhD. He'd been a professor at UC San Diego's Marine Biology Department for 12 years, tenured for 6. He specialized in intertidal ecosystems, studying how climate change affected coastal species. His research was funded by the National Science Foundation. His work was cited by environmental policymakers. He'd been featured in National Geographic. He was exactly the kind of scientist universities put on their recruitment materials. Every month, he conducted the same field survey at Torrey Pines State Beach, documenting species populations, water temperature, pH levels, collecting samples. He had permits. He had institutional backing. He had every legal right to be there. That Tuesday morning in September started like every other survey day. Dr. Thompson arrived at 6:47 a.m., parked in the beach access lot, loaded his equipment into a waterproof case, and walked down to the tide pools. He was wearing black neoprene waders, a long-sleeve UV protection shirt with the UC San Diego logo and Dr. M. Thompson Marine Biology embroidered on it, a research vest with equipment pockets, polarized sunglasses, and a wide-brimmed sun hat. His GoPro was mounted on his vest chest strap, facing forward, recording everything for research documentation. He'd been filming his surveys for 2 years to create educational content and document methodology. The camera was running when he entered the water at 7:03 a.m. Border Patrol agents Michael Santos and Jennifer Cole were conducting what they called beach patrol operations near the border region, though Torrey Pines was 40 miles north of the Mexican border. They'd been told to watch for suspicious activity related to smuggling operations. When they drove past the beach access parking lot at 8:34 a.m. and saw Dr. Thompson's pickup truck with equipment visible through the windows, they decided to investigate. When they walked down to the beach and saw a black man in the tide pools collecting something and putting it in containers, they made assumptions. Agent Santos activated his body camera at 8:41 a.m. As they approached, the GoPro footage shows Dr. Thompson crouched in a tide pool, using tweezers to carefully collect a specimen of a sea anemone, narrating into a small voice recorder. Sample 23B Anthopleura elegantissima, northwestern pool cluster, appears healthy, no visible bleaching. He's completely focused on his work, doesn't notice the agents approaching until Santos calls out from the rocks above. "Excuse me, sir." Dr. Thompson looks up, startled. His face shows confusion, not alarm. He's used to beachgoers asking questions about his work. Yes? Can I help you? The body camera shows Santos and Cole standing above the tide pools, looking down at Dr. Thompson. Santos speaks first, his tone immediately authoritative rather than curious. Border Patrol. We need to ask you some questions. What are you doing here? Dr. Thompson stands up slowly, careful not to disturb his equipment spread across the rocks. I'm conducting marine biological research. I'm a professor at UC San Diego. This is a monthly survey I've been doing for years. Santos doesn't soften. We need to see identification and proof you're authorized to collect specimens from this beach. Dr. Thompson's expression shifts slightly. The GoPro catches it perfectly, a moment of realization that this isn't a friendly inquiry. Of course, my identification is in my vehicle up in the parking lot. I have my faculty ID, my driver's license, and my collection permits from California Fish and Wildlife. Would you like me to go get them? Cole steps forward. No, sir, stay where you are. We need to verify your immigration status first. Are you a U.S. citizen? The GoPro footage captures Dr. Thompson's face. He blinks, processes what he just heard. Yes, I'm a U.S. citizen. I was born in Oakland. I'm a professor. I'm doing legally permitted research. Where were you born? Santos presses. Oakland, California. Dr. Thompson repeats, his voice remaining calm but an edge entering. Oakland Kaiser Hospital if you need specifics. I've lived in California my entire life. Can you prove that? Cole asks. Because you're collecting biological specimens from a protected beach, and we need to verify you're authorized to be in this country before we can verify you're authorized to collect. Dr. Thompson's jaw tightens. The GoPro shows his hands, still holding the specimen container, starting to shake slightly. Not from fear, but from controlled anger. I can prove everything. But I'm confused about why you're questioning my citizenship. I'm standing here in UC San Diego apparel with research equipment, conducting scientific work. What about this situation made you think immigration status was relevant? Santos's body camera shows his perspective. To him, Dr. Thompson is a black man in the water collecting things and putting them in containers. The UC San Diego shirt is visible, but Santos either doesn't notice or doesn't care. Sir, we're asking the questions. We need to see identification proving citizenship. Now, I told you my identification is in my vehicle, Dr. Thompson says, his voice still controlled but volume rising slightly. And I'm happy to show you everything. But I need you to explain what reasonable suspicion you have that I'm not a citizen. Because from where I'm standing, this looks like racial profiling. Cole cuts in. Sir, don't make this more difficult. We have authority to question anyone in this area about their immigration status. You're being uncooperative. I'm being precise. Dr. Thompson corrects her. I've answered every question. I've offered to provide documentation. But you've approached me without probable cause, demanded proof of citizenship without articulable suspicion, and you're doing it while I'm conducting legal scientific research on a public beach. So yes, I'm questioning your legal basis for this stop. The body camera shows Santos's hand moving to his radio. We might need backup. Subject is being resistant. A jogger appears on the beach, slowing down as she notices the confrontation. She's a white woman in her 50s, wearing running gear. She stops completely about 30 feet away, clearly watching. Dr. Thompson notices her and speaks louder, projecting so she can hear. Ma'am, I'm Dr. Marcus Thompson, a professor at UC San Diego. These agents are questioning my citizenship while I'm conducting legally permitted marine biology research. You're witnessing this. The jogger pulls out her phone and starts recording. The agents notice but don't tell her to stop. Santos turns back to Dr. Thompson. Sir, step out of the water and come up here. We're going to need to verify your identity. Dr. Thompson doesn't move. Am I being detained? Because if I'm free to go, I'd like to continue my research. If I'm being detained, I need you to articulate the legal basis. You're being questioned, Santos says. That's not a legal status, Dr. Thompson replies. Fourth Amendment jurisprudence requires that you either have reasonable suspicion to detain me or I'm free to go. Which is it? Cole's frustration is visible on the body camera. Sir, are you a lawyer? I'm a marine biologist with a PhD, Dr. Thompson says. But I know my constitutional rights. And you haven't articulated any reasonable suspicion that I'm not a citizen beyond the fact that I'm a black man collecting samples from the ocean. That's not reasonable suspicion. That's racial profiling. A second beachgoer has stopped now, an older Latino man with a metal detector. He's also watching, also recording on his phone. Dr. Thompson sees the growing audience and makes a decision. He reaches carefully into his vest pocket and pulls out a waterproof case. From inside, he extracts a business card. This is my business card. Dr. Marcus Thompson, Associate Professor, Marine Biology Department, UC San Diego. My office number is on here. You can call the department right now and verify I'm exactly who I say I am. Santos takes the card but barely looks at it. This doesn't prove citizenship. You could be using someone else's identity. Dr. Thompson's control is slipping slightly, incredulity breaking through. You think I stole a marine biology professor's identity and came to a beach at 7 in the morning to fake conducting research? Look at my equipment. Look at my permits in my field bag right there. Look at the institutional logos on my clothing. Use basic logic. The jogger calls out, her voice carrying across the beach. Officers, I'm a professor at UCSD too. I recognize Dr. Thompson. He teaches in my building. He's absolutely who he says he is. This is inappropriate. Santos doesn't acknowledge her. Sir, final warning. Step out of the water and provide identification or you'll be detained for failure to comply with a lawful order. Dr. Thompson stands completely still for a long moment. The GoPro captures his face in perfect focus. He's doing calculations, professional reputation, legal rights, physical safety, the camera's recording. He makes his choice. Officers, I'm going to comply under protest. I'm asserting that this detention is unlawful, that you lack reasonable suspicion, and that this constitutes racial profiling. I'm documenting everything on my research camera and these witnesses are recording. I will be filing complaints and pursuing legal action. Do you understand? Neither agent responds. Dr. Thompson wades out of the tide pool carefully, mindful of his equipment and the marine life. He climbs up onto the rocks, water streaming from his waders. Santos immediately positions himself close, invading Dr. Thompson's personal space. Hands where I can see them. Dr. Thompson raises his hands, palms out. The GoPro captures the moment from his chest perspective. His brown hands in the foreground, the agent's faces in the middle ground, and the two witnesses recording in the background. Stay here. Cole, check his equipment. Cole moves toward Dr. Thompson's field bag and research containers. Don't touch those, Dr. Thompson says sharply. Those are scientific samples. Some are living organisms. Mishandling them violates research protocols and potentially state wildlife protection laws. Cole hesitates, looking at Santos. Santos shrugs. Check it anyway. Cole opens the field bag and starts pulling out items. A waterproof notebook filled with data entries. Collection permits from California Department of Fish and Wildlife with Dr. Thompson's name clearly visible. A faculty ID from UC San Diego with his photo. A California driver's license. Passport card. She holds up the driver's license and passport. Santos takes them, examines them skeptically. These could be fake. Dr. Thompson's voice is ice. They're not fake. You can verify them. Call UCSD. Call Fish and Wildlife. Call the Border Patrol database. Do your job properly instead of harassing a citizen. By now, a small crowd has gathered. The two initial witnesses plus 3 more beachgoers, all watching, most recording. A lifeguard has come down from his tower, standing at a distance but observing. Someone has apparently called the police because a San Diego PD officer is walking down the beach access path. Officer David Park, an Asian American man in his 40s, approaches the scene. He's been with San Diego PD for 15 years and knows Torrey Pines well. What's the situation? Santos shows his Border Patrol credentials. We're questioning this individual about his immigration status and his authorization to collect specimens. Officer Park looks at Dr. Thompson, takes in the UC San Diego apparel, the research equipment, the permits visible in the open field bag, and the crowd of witnesses recording. He looks back at Santos. Does he have identification? He has a driver's license and passport, Santos says. But we're not convinced they're legitimate. Officer Park walks over to Cole and takes the documents. He examines them under the morning sun. These look legitimate to me. Dr. Thompson, is this your current address? Yes, sir, Dr. Thompson says. I live in La Jolla. I've been a resident of California for 41 years. I'm a professor at UC San Diego. I have every legal right to be here conducting this research. Park hands the documents back to Dr. Thompson. Sir, you're free to go. These agents have no legal basis to detain you further. Santos objects. We're not done with our investigation. Officer Park turns to him, his voice firm. Yes, you are. This man has provided identification proving he's a U.S. citizen. He has permits for his research. He's on a public beach during daylight hours conducting legal activity. You have no probable cause, no reasonable suspicion, and about 6 witnesses recording what looks a lot like racial profiling. I suggest you clear the scene before this becomes an official complaint. The body camera shows Santos and Cole exchanging looks. They know they've lost control of the situation. Cole hands Dr. Thompson his field bag back. Some of the contents hastily stuffed inside. Research protocols disregarded. Dr. Thompson takes the bag and immediately kneels to check his samples. 2 of the containers have been opened carelessly, seawater spilled. A specimen jar is cracked. His face shows fury. You've contaminated my samples. This represents hours of work and potentially valuable data that's now compromised. Santos doesn't apologize. You should have cooperated from the beginning. You did cooperate, Officer Park interjects. You provided identification and permits. These agents decided that wasn't sufficient based on nothing but assumption. Dr. Thompson, do you want to file a formal complaint? Yes, Dr. Thompson says without hesitation. And I'll be contacting my university legal counsel, the ACLU, and every civil rights organization that handles Border Patrol misconduct cases. The jogger steps forward, still recording. I'm Dr. Rebecca Morrison, professor of biology at UCSD. I witnessed this entire encounter from when I arrived. I'm happy to provide a sworn statement. The Latino man with the metal detector nods. Me too. I saw everything. My name is Carlos Mendez. I'll testify to what I saw. Santos and Cole leave without another word, walking back up the beach toward their vehicle. Officer Park stays with Dr. Thompson, helping him carefully reorganize his equipment. I'm sorry this happened. This beach is nowhere near the border. There was no legitimate reason for Border Patrol to be questioning people here. Dr. Thompson's hands are still shaking as he secures his damaged samples. This is the 3rd time I've been stopped while doing fieldwork in California. 3rd time. I'm a professor. I have permits. I wear institutional identification. And I still get treated like I'm suspicious for existing in nature. Officer Park gives him his card. File that complaint. Use my name as a witness. This was wrong. The complaint was filed within 24 hours. Dr. Thompson contacted UC San Diego's legal counsel, who immediately involved the university's administration. The story made local news by that evening. By the next day, it was national. The GoPro footage and body camera footage, obtained through public records requests, were played side by side on news programs. The contrast was devastating. Dr. Thompson's camera showed a calm, professional scientist being questioned about his citizenship while doing permitted research. The agent's camera showed them approaching a black man and immediately assuming he didn't belong. The lawsuit was filed 6 weeks later. Federal civil rights violation, unlawful detention, racial profiling, 4th Amendment violation, harassment, professional defamation. Named defendants: Agent Santos and Cole personally, Border Patrol as an agency, and the Department of Homeland Security. The complaint detailed the stop, the lack of reasonable suspicion, the damage to research samples, The professional humiliation of being questioned about citizenship while wearing institutional identification and conducting permitted scientific work. Discovery revealed the pattern. Santos and Cole had conducted 67 beach patrol stops over 2 years. 61 targeted people of color. 48 ended with no enforcement action after the person proved citizenship or legal status. They were operating under a broad interpretation of border zone authority that legal experts said had no basis in law. Torrey Pines was not a border crossing. It was a state beach 40 miles from Mexico. There was no legal justification for routine immigration checks. The case went to trial 16 months later in federal court in San Diego. The jury watched both videos. The GoPro footage showing Dr. Thompson's perspective, professional scientist at work, immediately questioned about citizenship, asking reasonable questions about legal basis, complying under protest. The body camera showing the agent's perspective, seeing a black man collecting items, assuming immigration violation, refusing to accept explanations, contaminating research samples. Dr. Thompson testified about his credentials, his research, the permits he carried, the institutional identification he wore. I've spent my career studying how to protect ocean ecosystems from climate change. I've testified before Congress. I've been published in the top journals in my field. And on that beach, none of that mattered. Those agents saw a black man and decided I must not belong. The university testified about Dr. Thompson's standing. Dr. Rebecca Morrison testified as a witness. Officer Park testified about arriving at a scene where agents were detaining a credentialed scientist on a public beach with no legal justification. Expert witnesses testified about racial profiling in Border Patrol operations. Dr. Sarah Chun, a sociologist studying immigration enforcement, presented data. When over 70% of your stops target people of color and over 70% of those stops end with no enforcement action, that's not security operations. That's systematic profiling. The defense tried to argue the agents acted in good faith based on training. But the prosecution brought Border Patrol's own policy manuals showing that stops must be based on specific articulable facts, not general suspicion based on appearance. The presence of a person of color on a beach is not reasonable suspicion of immigration violation. The jury deliberated for 9 hours. The verdict was unanimous. Liable on all counts. The damages phase took 3 more days. Lost research time. Damaged professional reputation. Emotional distress. Then punitive damages. The jury wanted to send a message. $28.9 million. $2.4 million compensatory. $26.5 million punitive. The courtroom erupted. Dr. Thompson sat motionless, his attorney beside him. When the judge read the amount, Dr. Thompson exhaled years of frustration. Santos and Cole were terminated. Appeals denied. Careers ended. Border Patrol implemented new policies restricting beach patrol operations to actual border zones with documented smuggling activity. Training was revised to emphasize that professionals conducting legal work are not suspicious based on race. Dr. Thompson used part of the settlement to establish a legal defense fund for scientists and researchers who face harassment while conducting fieldwork. He still does his monthly surveys at Torrey Pines. He still wears the same UC San Diego shirt. He still records every survey on his GoPro. But now, when beachgoers approach him, they usually say, "I saw your story. Thank you for standing up." Years later, asked if the settlement felt like justice, Dr. Thompson was thoughtful. The money funds important work helping others. But justice would have been not being questioned in the first place. I'm a professor doing permitted research on a public beach. That should be unremarkable. The fact that it resulted in a $28.9 million verdict tells you how far we still have to go. Somewhere today, another scientist of color is being questioned about whether they belong in a space where they have every right to be. That's the real problem. The verdict just made one example expensive. Should federal agents face automatic penalties for conducting immigration checks outside border zones without specific probable cause? Comment your answer. Because what happened to Dr. Marcus Thompson wasn't about border security. It was about 2 agents who saw a black man on a beach, made assumptions, and learned a $28.9 million lesson about why credentials, permits, and constitutional rights matter more than skin color. If you believe professionals deserve to work without being questioned about their citizenship based on appearance, subscribe. Tomorrow, another story proving documentation and courage can hold power accountable.